up, everybody? Welcome back to the Throttle channel. As you can see, we are not in sunny Southern California at the moment. We are actually in Tokyo at Top Rank's PDI, where we are collecting our R34 for our second visit here with the car. Brian from Top Rank is also getting a chance to drive his car for the first time as well. But I wanted to show you guys the car because it is here. We did have a lot of stuff done to it in the meantime since we were here last time hanging out with everyone. We've got a lot of good bits to go over really quick, so let's jump into it. I wanted to start here under the hood. There's not a whole lot going on here, but I thought we'd start here because there are a couple things that we've done. Now, we've replaced the front headlights. So we didn't replace the whole light because these are a very desirable xenon headlight that came in the GT-Rs. Unfortunately, if you watched our previous video, you noticed that these were colored yellow. They got discolored over time. It's really common for that to happen with these. We've replaced the lenses, a couple $100 versus $7 grand to replace headlights. I'll take that any day of the week. They look brand new now and I'm super happy about it. We also added the Nismo carbon fiber cooling plate. This is something we got at Omori factory in our last visit. It does go along with some other Nissan Nismo components that we don't have yet. Those are coming in the future. One of the other things I wanted to show you under here is we did add our Mines suspension. They're Öhlins coilovers, which is kind of the creme de la creme for a GT-R. Everybody puts Öhlins, DFVs, and those types on the GT-Rs. I was able to find a set of Öhlins by Mines. It was a collaborative effort that they put together. It was only available for a limited time. I was able to find a really nice set. I actually sent them off to Öhlins, had them completely revalved and redone. So it's basically a brand new set of Mines Öhlins coilovers. So special to me, super awesome. And those of you that know your GT-Rs know that this is a Z-Tune front bumper. This is authentic Nismo Z-Tune front bumper, side skirts, rear spats as well. It's one of the reasons I bought this car was because it has all authentic parts on it, which I really like. There's no cheap stuff on this car. Now let's move around to the side where we've got a few other things to show you. You'll notice we added a Nismo over fender, and the reason for these is because it has to pass Shock-N, which Shock-N is basically a testing system here in Japan to make the car road legal. They don't want your wheels sticking out too far. In order to make these vintage TE37s, this is an original spec, GT-R spec wheel that was available when these cars came out. Nismo made these over fenders so that it widens the body and gets the wheel under the car where you need it to pass Shock-Ns. And now behind these TE37s, we've got factory R34 Brembos, which are very good in and of themselves. We've added a Project Mu racing pad. We've also have the two-piece Project Mu rotors, as well as stainless steel brake lines. So this thing is gonna stop as well as it goes, which makes me very happy and makes me feel safe behind the wheel. We've added the Nissan rain guards, and that was because last time we were in town, it did rain a little bit, and we wanna get a little fresh air in the car, and you can't put the windows down without soaking the door cards in water. So adding these was a must for this trip, so we'll be able to crack the windows and not get wet inside the car. We also updated the Nismo carbon fiber side appliques for the B-pillar here. Really just an aesthetic thing, but with all the other carbon going on the car, I thought it was a good look, and it really freshens up the car quite a bit. Let's move on back further. So as mentioned in the front, we've done the same thing. So we've got the over fender, the Project Mu kit, the TE37 vintage wheels. Everything's perfect in my opinion back here. I love the way it looks stylistically. It's what these cars were meant to look like in my opinion. We have the Nismo LED taillights inside the factory housings here. So you don't really know those are Nismo until they go on. They are LED. Again, I mentioned we have the Nismo body kit on this car underneath. We've got our auto select risers. We've got our Nismo dry carbon blade that was just recently added. And we've got our Fujitsu Legalize R exhaust, which again is a Shock-N part. We typically want to run something a little louder, but for Shock-N we have to run something that passes the tests. Back here we have the Nismo, this is Omori Factory's tow hook that they make. This is only available to purchase at the factory, or people sell them sometimes secondhand online on auction, but we did buy this brand new at Omori, which I thought was really fun and cool. So aesthetically on the outside, I'm really happy with the way it looks and how it's gonna function, but let's check out underneath it. Let's get it in the air. And so this is where a lot of the work is going to show that Sato put in between the time we were here last and now. So let's hop up underneath here. First of all, as I mentioned, we did replace this bottom lip. The one that I had on the car when I bought it had a big crack in it. This is a plastic lip from Nissan. So it's a pretty easy replacement. Take the old one off, put the new one on. but it refreshes the front of the car really nice. I see this panel here. This is another panel I'm probably going to want to replace. It's starting to look its age, so I'll probably order one of those and fix that either stateside or maybe between the next visit. So starting up here in the front, see we've got Cusco tension rods, and now these are actually R33 tension rods, and the reason is Sato, he's a Nissan GT-R expert. He's been working on GT-Rs since the R32s came out when he worked at the dealership level. So he was actually working on 32s when they were still new or being serviced in the dealership quite frequently because it was a newer car. So he's learned a lot. He also lives over near Mount Fuji and Fuji Speedway. And so he's at the track all the time, like literally hot lapping his R32. So he's learned a lot about the geometry on these cars. So one thing when I reached out to him and said, hey, I want to overhaul the suspension, what should I order? He said, we want to do R33 stuff in the front. So the Cusco tension rod is R33. We could have easily put Nismo tension rods on here, but he liked this one better for the adjustability that it has because the Nismo arm here is not adjustable. This is going to allow us to move the caster in and out. He also did the lower arm here. This is also R33, and as you can see, all new hardware, all new ball joints, the whole nine. So everything, as I said, has been replaced, pulled off, replaced as far as the suspension goes. And that doesn't exclude the coilover. As you can see here, we'll look in the back because it's a little prettier, but these are actually mines by Öhlins. This car actually had a set of Tane suspension on it when I got it, and they were fine, but I did find these mines, Öhlins collaboration suspension. I really like them, so I just picked them up and I sent them over here and they threw them on the car. I'm looking forward to testing them out at Fuji later on in this trip. All four corners are brand new suspension wise. Let's run under here where we have factory downpipe. Unfortunately, this car had an HKS downpipe on it, but in order to pass shock in, as I mentioned to you guys previously, we had to put a stock downpipe back on. We also have the stock catalytic converter in here, which has made it up to the Fujitsu legalized R exhaust, which is making this car compliant for shock in all the way out the back. Moving out back, we've exchanged the bushings here. We actually left the stock bushing, but we actually put a blue collar on each one of the pickup points for the rear subframe. And what that does is tightens up the rear subframe. It keeps it from moving around, and it's gonna result in a little bit of a harsher ride quality, but it's gonna tighten up the car quite a bit, and we really want that for the track day. So we had him slide those in. As you can see, this bracket's all been replaced. If you guys saw our video where I actually showed you guys this car underneath, this was all dented and dinged up pretty bad, so it's now fixed. This is gonna need some adjusting when it comes to the States. There's a crack in it here, which they fixed with a little bit of tape. But rest assured, I got composite guys in California, we can fix this, so make it look as good as new. So I'm not too concerned about it. Under here, as you can see, we've got Nismo arms. These are lower arms, upper arms. We did not change the end links, it looks like. Unfortunately, I was hoping that those would be on here, but they are not. So we'll do those, we'll address the end links later. I think the bushings look fine, so I think they're gonna be okay. We've got Project Mu stainless steel brake lines made into our stock R34 GT-R calipers that have Project Mu pads and rotors. So this thing should stop pretty good. And as you can see, there's our coilover, which is really cool because at the ride height that we have this car at, we actually had to add a helper spring to this car to make it sit right. There's a lot that actually went into this, believe it or not. And that's one of the things I love about the services here at Top Rank is you can buy a car here, but not only are you just buying a car, they're actually gonna service the car for you before you take it. So you know you're getting a good car that's gonna be reliable for you. But they also, if you want to do work on the car, they'll actually do the work for you here in the shop. And for me, having Sato do the work, being the expert of the GT-R that he is, here is peace of mind for me. And then when this car is ready to come to the States, I know I've got a clean slate to do what I want to do with the car, and it's going to be a good running car straight out of the gate. I just know Sato is going to do a great job. Every time I come here, he surprises me with everything he's been able to get done on the car. So I'm really excited to drive this thing. So now that we've showed you guys the underside of the car, you can see that the car is in really good condition underneath, as I showed you in the first video we did on the car where we actually walked around the whole thing. Courtney and I went over it. Let's take a look at the interior because we did a couple things in there as well, because it's really gonna help us enjoy the car while it's here in Japan. All right, well, moving into the interior, we added some Nismo floor mats. This car had actually a really good set of GT-R R34 mats in it, and we're gonna keep those. I'm gonna take those back with me and put them in storage for now. We're gonna run these Nismo mats because they're still available and I can buy them whenever I need to. I want to keep the original mats in good shape. So we tossed those in while I was gone. Sato put them in. You guys know this car had Recaros in it when I bought it, so they're brand new, which is pretty awesome as a kind of a come up. In the meantime, since we were here last, I was also able to locate a Nismo gauge cluster for this car. It's not a rare item by any means. They are available out there. They've become very expensive though. New, this part costs like in $600 to $800 price range. On the used market, they're about $2,000 for a gauge cluster. So having one of these is actually pretty cool upgrade for the car. I like it has white gauge faces to match the outside of the car. Lights up in the factory illumination. Also, when we were at Amore factory on the last trip you guys saw, I picked up a brand new R34 GT-R key, which my car was missing. All I had was this valet key, which is kind of a bummer. When you buy an R34 GT-R, this key is one of the cool things you get with it. So I bought a new one, and in the meantime, they've keyed it, and it now works in the car. Awesome. Also, a lot of cars that are bought secondhand here in Japan have a lot of electronics added to them. For whatever reason, people in Japan love to add electronics to their cars. I had Sato go through this car. He removed all of the extra wiring and bits on here that I didn't want anymore. Turbo timer, a lot of old technology stuff that was just taking up space in here and just didn't look good in my opinion. This car looks a lot cleaner now without it, and I'm happy about that. A couple of maintenance things that he did in the meantime also is he replaced these moldings for me. These moldings had shown a lot of wear from somebody getting in and out of the car. They had tears and rips and holes in it, so that's all new here. We also had him replace the wing mirror area as well because this was a cracked part. The nice thing is the 34s, a lot of this stuff is still available at the dealer level, so ordering this stuff isn't that difficult. Now, I've taken it upon myself to start ordering a lot more parts for the 34 in the States. I have a whole room stockpiled full of, I have a whole new center console, stereo surround I'm collecting now, so that when this car comes to the States, I can pull all this apart and put all brand new parts in. I also brought along something really special. My buddy Brian is so excited to get his new GT-R and actually get to drive it on this trip. He told me he had a ratty old shift knob in there when he bought the car and he wanted to change it out. I brought him a throttle knob. So we're gonna go ahead and gift this to him right now, and I'm excited to hand it to him. And for a limited time, we're gonna have these $25 off. That's a huge savings. It is only for a short time, guys. So if you're in the market for a shift knob, it is a universal knob as far as the shift knob itself goes. You literally can screw on whenever we launch a new knob, it will screw on to this collar so you can update these whenever you want. It's actually a really cool modular design. And we've got a bunch of different colors and designs, so definitely hit the link in the description. Go get yourself one. Hey Brian, I got something for you.
What do you got?
Throttle shift knob, baby.
First mod.
First mod. This thing's pretty modded, I don't know. Oh, I will say I'm jealous of your stock seats. All right, well, let's pull this old one off and let's toss that throttle knob on. You actually take the knob off. You screw this on to the desired height and wherever you want the logo. Hey, it feels good too. This shape is so good.
It is.
Very ergonomic. All right, well, that's gonna round out this video. I'm gonna jump in this thing and Brian and our friends are gonna go drive around Tokyo in our R34s. It's gonna be amazing. I've waited so long for this day, and we're gonna put these mods to the test, not only tonight, but later on in this trip as well. So I also wanna reiterate to you guys, Top Rank isn't only for buying an imported car or a domestic car. It is also about the fact that they'll store your car here. You can pay them to store it every month until it's ready to come over to you, to where you can enjoy it in your home country, as well as work on the car and add mods to it as it's sitting here waiting for you to export it or do whatever you want with it. So it's a full turnkey thing. You're not gonna get that at other import-export shops. They just basically go buy the cars at auction and ship them to you. These guys are doing the whole thing from start to finish, and they'll even go over and above and add your mods to the cars for you before it's shipped, which is super awesome. We've got heaps more content coming from here in Japan, so definitely turn those notifications on. Make sure you don't miss a minute of our content here in Japan because it's gonna be exciting. We'll see you guys in the next one.